Padmé Amidala's death in Star Wars, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith is one of Star Wars' greatest tragedies. However, the thin explanation of how she died left many questions unanswered. The original trilogy had confirmed that Padmé died long before A New Hope in the Star Wars timeline. However, Leia's description of her mother as very beautiful, kind, but sad implied that Padmé had at least seen her daughter into toddlerhood. George Lucas even considered having Padmé live on Alderaan briefly, uniting at least part of the Skywalker family tree. Ultimately, Revenge of the Sith ended quite differently. While Anakin accurately predicted that Padmé would die in childbirth, Star Wars movies and TV shows have never precisely clarified exactly how that happened. Because her final encounter with Anakin in Revenge of the Sith was so brutal and based on the medical droid's assessment that Padmé lost the will to live, speculation has arisen that perhaps she simply died of a broken heart. However, that may not be the case. While Padmé was in labor, the medical droid assisting her in childbirth stated that, for unexplainable reasons, they were losing her. Obi-Wan Kenobi's incredulity at that moment reflected quite clearly that she didn't otherwise seem to be in poor health. Instead, Obi-Wan was completely shocked to hear that she was dying. Although the droid followed that vaguer explanation with the assertion that Padmé had lost the will to live, there are several issues with that claim. On the one hand, it's unclear how a medical droid would have effectively made that assessment. It seems more than dubious that Padmé would have said as much. In terms of vitals, too, there would be no identifiable metric for such a thing. This explanation also seems flimsy at best. Without some sort of outside force, it wouldn't be possible for Padmé to simply decide to die. Surely, there had to be some sort of physical manifestation or issue that caused her to die, even if it was rooted in the devastation and heartbreak she was experiencing. Although the droid specifically referenced Padmé losing the will to live as the source, over time, the narrative within the franchise and Star Wars audiences has become that Padmé died of a broken heart. After all, she did explicitly say, "Anakin, you're breaking my heart." Oddly enough, while Star Wars is a galaxy far, far away, there is some precedent for so-called broken heart syndrome in real life. However, even with that stretch, broken heart syndrome can't take an otherwise healthy person and kill them. Padmé had just experienced a traumatic assault. Anakin force-chokes Padmé on Mustafar in Star Wars, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Another critical factor in Padmé's death was the physical violence she had just been subjected to. While the explanation the medical droid gave was more emotion-based, Padmé had just experienced a near-death assault. On Mustafar, when Anakin saw Obi-Wan at the entryway of Padmé's ship, he believed that Padmé was betraying him. Because of that, he began choking her, and he held on long enough that as soon as he stopped, she collapsed, unconscious. Although that alone did not kill her, as she ultimately came to in time to give birth to the twins, it was clear that this was a significant assault. In fact, it may have been easier had Star Wars simply had her die from a complication related to that attack. Moreover, it's unclear what sort of effect a force choke may have on a person. Presumably, it isn't a one-to-one equivalent of choking someone without using the force. Padmé may have been suffering from underlying issues undetectable by the medical droid by nature of the way she was attacked. Anakin's visions hint there may have been complications in the pregnancy.